For years, I believed certain truths around singing that really held me back in my vocal journey. And I am sure that I'm not the only one with those so-called truths. So that's why in today's episode, I'm going to share those 3 singing beliefs or truths with you that I had for years that were completely wrong so that you don't make that same mistake. So let's dive into it. Hi, my name is Maggie. I'm the founder of the Singing Insiders, in which I help passionate singers just like yourself develop their singing and become the best versions of themselves. And in these episodes, you're going to get tools, techniques, insights, ahas, exercises all around singing to really help you up-level your singing skills. So what are those 3 truths or beliefs that I held on to for years that were really in the way of my own vocal development? And maybe you might recognize yourself in one or more of these beliefs and hopefully shift those so that you're not limiting yourself, but rather stepping into empowering yourself, because that's what this is all about. Oftentimes we see a truth as something that is the truth. If I were to tell you that the sky is blue and that's my truth, you might say, well, Maggie, on my side, the sky is actually gray because it's snowing or it's raining or whatever. So a belief is something that we see as the truth. And oftentimes we're not even conscious that it is a thought that might be true or not true. We take it on as true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it truly is true. Does that make sense? And beliefs, you have empowering beliefs, beliefs that make you feel good, give you positive emotions, help you move forward towards your goal. And those types of belief might be like, I'm good enough, I can do this, I can learn this, I am confident, I have something to share with my listener. Like all those beliefs are empowering beliefs. Now, on the opposite of that, we also have limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs are beliefs that limit you, beliefs that do not empower you, and beliefs that oftentimes take you down in your vocal journey or slow down your progress towards whatever goal you set out for yourself. And there are 3 main ones that I noticed throughout my journey and that I also notice in some singers that I work with. And it's really interesting to identify those beliefs because creating awareness, that's where it all starts. Once you're aware that you might hold on to those limiting beliefs, that's where you get to choose to shift them into more empowering ones and empower yourself instead of limiting yourself. Does it make sense what we're doing here? Okay, so let's dive in with the first one. The first wrong belief or limiting belief or disempowering belief that I used to have was you either have talent or you don't. And this was something that I especially saw in my classmates. I always felt like I had to be the one that had to put in the hours and practice and practice and practice, while my classmates, some of them, it would just come naturally. So I was like, oh, well, they have the talent. I obviously don't have it, so I will never be good enough. That was the limiting belief that I chose to hold on to. Now, over time, I learned that singing is a skill. Just like swimming, just like drawing, just like cooking, this is something that you can learn. Do some people have, a more inclined way to do it? Some people have a natural voice. Yes, they do. However, that doesn't mean that you, who might not have that natural ability, that you cannot get to that same level. And this is also something that I noticed much later in my own vocal journey at university. There were 2 types of people in the class. One type of singer was the one that was what I would say the talented singer, the natural singer. And then you had the other type of singer, which is where I was in, which I call the trained singer. And the trained singer, they had to do all the exercises and train their voice every day and practice on a regular basis, like all those things, right? They seemed to put in a lot of work, and they did. I did. While the natural singers, or what we would like to call like the talented singers, they seemed to have it all figured out easily, naturally, right? And they didn't put in the hours of work. And something very interesting started shifting throughout our bachelor's degree is that the level at which the, let's say, talented or natural singers begin might have seemed pretty high, but the trained singers, the ones that actually had to put in the work, we might have started lower level-wise, but because we did the work, our levels started to become equal, and by the end, the trained singers oftentimes started to surpass those that only relied on their natural talent, because the trained singers had learned the commitment, the regular practice. They knew that nothing is for granted, and they were in that flow of learning, being open-minded. The natural singers, they just relied on their natural talent, and that's where they got stuck. There was no room for growth for them. Interesting, right? So instead of thinking, well, I either have the talent or I don't, let's switch that around to a more empowering belief, which is I can learn this. And not having a natural talent is actually in my benefit, because it teaches me perseverance. It teaches me consistency. It teaches me that if I'm truly passionate about something and if I really want to have this thing, I can go after it, because it's all about developing that skill. That's number one. Okay. The second limiting belief that truly held me back, and that I see many singers being held back by as well, is this idea of I'm insecure when singing in public, which means that this is not meant for me. And this is a little ironic, I believe, because oftentimes many singers have this innate desire of wanting to share their singing in public. Whether that's on a stage where you actually perform in front of an audience, maybe that's singing the solo in your choir, maybe that's singing at a karaoke party with friends, or singing the opening dance for your friend's wedding, or maybe it's just singing at home and being able to do that freely while someone else is home and could hear you sing. Those are all examples of singing in public. Singing in public means sing whenever someone else is hearing you sing. And oftentimes as singers, we have that desire of sharing our passion for singing with others. However, oftentimes there's also some big insecurities holding us back to do that exact thing that we want to do. And that's where the paradox is, or the irony. We want this thing, we love this thing, but we're scared of it. It's kind of like a roller coaster. I really want to go on this ride where I go upside down, but I'm scared of it. But I'm going to do it anyways because I know it's fun, right? So it's that feeling of, So it's a subtle thing, because sometimes singers, they stop here. They have this belief of, well, I'm scared to sing on stage, or I feel performance anxiety, which means that this is not for me. I should do something else. The truth here, again, is that this is a skill. And the mistake many people tend to make is put themselves in scary situations. So if you're scared of the roller coaster that goes upside down, oftentimes when you actually do it, it might not be as fun as you thought it would be. It might be more interesting to level up the difficulty level. So if we take that back to singing, How many times have you put yourself in a situation where you might have felt that anxiety when singing in front of others, thinking, oh, well, the more I do it, the easier it will get. I used to think that too. The more I perform, the less performance anxiety I'll get. When really the opposite started to happen. The more I would perform, the more performance anxiety I would get, because every time I would perform, I would feel those nerves, and that's the vicious cycle, because then I think, oh, well, next time I'm performing again, but last time I felt those nerves, so now I'm even more nervous to even feel that anxiety that I felt last time. It's like having a panic attack. Once you have panic attacks, you're scared for the next one because you think, oh, well, I had it in the past, so I might have it in the future. This is a vicious cycle. So how do we break past that? Well, instead of doing something more in order to think we're going to get better at it, it's really about the right preparation. And what is the right preparation when we're singing in public or wanting to sing in public? 3 things. First, we need to have a voice that actually does what we want it to do. So we want to sing on pitch. We want to be able to sing the high notes easily or the low notes easily. We want to be able to sing the riff. We want to be able to belt. So we want to have vocal freedom. Use our voice in the right way. Second, we want to have confidence in our abilities, confidence in our voice, and thus confidence in ourself. We need to be able to trust ourselves and trust our voices. This is where we can talk about this whole concept of regulating your nervous system before you go and sing in public. Because your brain might see singing in public as a threat. This is dangerous. And so my brain communicates to my body, we need to prepare for this danger. So what is my brain saying? There's got to be more blood going to the legs so that we can run away, or we need to heighten the cortisol levels so that we can fight this threat, right? And that's where reactions like fight, flight, and freeze might start to come up because our brain sees a threat and then communicates that to our body. Now we need to tell our brain that this context of singing in public is not a threat. It's actually really fun. And one way to do that is to regulate your nervous system so that when you're in a heightened state, you can calm it down so that our brain understands, oh, it's okay. This is not a threat, right? So that is the second area of focus. The first one is obviously your voice. The second one is you. Trusting your voice, trusting that this context of singing in public is not a threat. Your mind, training your mind. The third area of focus is all around creativity. That is where you shine. Being able to sing a song in your own unique and authentic way, being able to express yourself fully, that will truly help you get into what we like to call the zone or in flow, like however you want to describe it. That feeling of pure expression. And there are techniques and tools that can help you with that. But those are the three core areas that you should be focusing on. Developing your voice, developing your confidence, your trust, rewiring your mind, understanding and calming down the body, and focusing on that creative side of things so that you can be creative when you're singing and that you can feel all those feelings, tell a story in your own unique, authentic way. Those are the 3 areas. Instead of believing, I'm insecure when singing in public, so I will forever be insecure. That is not very efficient. If this has been super valuable for you so far, then I invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you keep on being updated when new episodes just like this one come out, so that you're the first one getting notified about them. Now, let's move on because there's still one important limiting belief that we have to cover, which is hoarseness during or after singing is normal. That's a big one. Especially with beginner singers, I hear this one all the time. Oh, I use my voice extensively, I sang for 2 hours a day, or I had to speak in front of a classroom today. So I feel a little bit of hoarseness, but I guess that's normal. Like that idea. No, that is not normal. There's a difference between being tired and having a hoarse voice. Hoarseness is the swelling of your vocal cords. Whenever you hear or feel hoarseness in your voice, oftentimes that's a sign that you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're using the wrong vocal techniques. Maybe you're pushing your voice, straining your voice. Maybe you're talking or speaking or singing too loud, whatever it might be. But there's something that is wrong, and we need to take a look at that. Tiredness, on the other hand, is when you feel like, oh yeah, I've used my voice a lot today. It feels a little bit tired, but there's no change in your sound. So you might feel a little bit of tension just because it has been working all day, but there's no change in your sound. That's the difference between being tired and feeling it and then being hoarse. If you're feeling hoarse, there's a reason that hoarseness came, and that means you're doing something wrong. And so the swelling of the vocal cords might be caused due to irritation, and that is oftentimes caused by a wrong voice use. And the more you're feeling that hoarseness, the more unhealthy you're actually using your voice, which might cause vocal injury, vocal surgery. Like, we don't want to go there. So instead of believing that hoarseness is normal and okay once in a while, no, you can train your voice using the right vocal techniques to sing for 2 hours, to sing for 5 hours. All of that is possible using the right vocal techniques. And if you feel any hoarseness, that's a sign we're doing something wrong. So those are the 3 big limiting beliefs that I notice with the singers that I work with, and I had myself. To recap, the first one is you either have natural talent or you don't. Let's reframe that too. Not having that natural skill is actually a good thing, because you learn about consistency and practice. Singing is a skill. Singing is something that you can learn. The second one was, I'm insecure to sing in public, so I'll always be insecure to sing in public. Well, here too, singing in public is a skill. It's something that you can learn, and you need to focus on 3 main areas. The first one being vocal technique. The second one, trusting yourself, trusting your voice, trusting your body, cultivating that confidence. And the third one is all about creativity and being able to express yourself. And then the third belief is all about hoarseness and thinking that hoarseness is normal when you're singing or after singing. No, let's reframe that too. Hoarseness is a sign that our body gives us that we're doing something wrong. And then we need to identify what that something is. And that's where we can look into different vocal techniques that can help us overcome that hoarseness. Now, as you can see, singing and learning how to sing is more than just training your voice. You really need to have this holistic approach to your vocal development. And this is what I like to call the path to vocal freedom, because we can talk about this for hours and hours and hours to come. So I actually recorded an episode, and I'll link to this episode in the description here down below. I'm inviting you to go to that episode next, because this will take and continue this conversation where we talk about those 3 areas of focus that you need to train yourself in to be able to sing in public without feeling self-conscious. So click that link below, and I will see you in that next episode. Thank you for being here. Wishing you all the best, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.